Dean, but
Hey, welcome back to Road Tripping with Rachel. Once again, we are in the front seat of my Ford. So, I'm about to film a video. I didn't really know if I was going to want to change or like keep the idea. It was not on my list of things to do this year. However, like, it's a major event, and I mentioned in another video earlier this month that there was going to be something coming up that you guys would find out about later. It's later. I'm moving. It's not just like, hey, I'm switching apartments. It's, hey, I'm switching apartments and I'm moving south. So I'm actually moving closer to the area that I grew up in. I'm only going to be maybe 20 or 25 minutes away from where I grew up. So it's super exciting for me to be going back to the St. Louis area. I'm really excited. It's home for me. I've spent the last 4.5, 5 years gone now between living in Oklahoma and then living in northern Missouri. And I got out. I've lived in different places. I've learned a lot about myself over the course of, probably at least the last decade. There's been a lot of growth for me, just as a person, and being gone, but I'm ready to be back and closer to family now, on a permanent basis, and I'm super excited. So right now, the reason we are in the front seat of my car is because I am on my way I'm on my way home. I decided to come home over the weekend, but I am going to be looking at an apartment, and I will be having a roommate for the first time in almost 5 years. Those of you who don't know or aren't from the St. Louis area, there is a drastic change in cost of living between northern Missouri and the St. Louis area. And I'm not from an overly expensive area. I am from a much more expensive area than what I've been living in for the last 5 years. So I will be living with my younger cousin. She has been wanting to move out and get an apartment for the last 1 to 2 years. It's hard to find a good apartment that you're getting what you're paying for. And there are a lot of jokes that have been going around between Instagram and where I am most definitely a millennial. My cousin is younger than me, and she's on the tail end of the millennials. But with that though, the fact that it's you almost need to have a roommate so that way you can justify the expense of what it would cost. And quite frankly, it's almost that it was at the apartments I was looking at in areas where I felt I would be safe. I wouldn't have to worry about stuff being stolen. I that they were well maintained. Those that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about safe. They're well maintained. They're good areas. They're in a proximity. I was looking somewhere that would be halfway between where my family lives and then where I would be working at. So I was looking in a very specific area. The convenience of things like grocery stores, and as you know, I've got Finny, my cat, and so I was pet friendly, washer dryer hookup, and I was looking at 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It was going to be for what I was looking for, it was going to be a minimum of $900. So for a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and that was small. Those were small, so that would have been smaller than what I currently have. And so by rooming with my cousin, we had a budget in mind of what she knew she could afford. I had a budget of what I knew I could afford, and combined we could get a much nicer place. And it would be cheaper for the both of us. So we decided to go on ahead, and I asked her, let her know, hey, I'm moving back to the St. Louis area. Do you want to be roommates? She said, let me think about this. She talked about it with her family, because I said, she is younger than me. She's an adult. Don't worry about anything like that. She's, I said, she's tail end of the millennials. She's in her mid-20s. I'm in my early 30s. But wise counsel. It's a good thing. The time this is airing, just know I either A, made the decision with my cousin to go on ahead and rent this apartment I'm going to be looking at tomorrow, or B, I went and looked somewhere else. You will be seeing this video though while I'm in the middle of packing in preparing to move out of my current apartment. So I am super excited about this change of coming back here. Now, I haven't said what I'm going to be doing. So I'm not going to talk about the company that I am going to be working for. I want to keep a little bit of distance between like what I do here on YouTube and then what I do professionally. The stuff that pays the bills. I am going to be leaving the Christian sphere of employment, and I am returning to the secular workforce. Now, I have worked for Christian institutions for the last 3 jobs that I have had. It has been, I'm just going to say, an experience. There are some expectations you have when you go and you work for just Christian institutions that are different from the expectations that you have when you work for a secular company. And some of those are like the environment, some of those are the coworkers that you have, but in my case, one of the big reasons was I needed to be making more money. The other big thing is like when you work for Christian institutions, it is assumed that the people that you are working with like are Christians and are actively involved in their own churches. I have felt for the last really couple of years that I was not fulfilling what I was being called to, as far as both individually and also as a Christian. So that has been a struggle that I've personally had that I wanted to remedy. And part of that is that as Christians we are called to be a part of that Great Commission, and I bring it up in a few other videos about how like YouTube has allowed me to be able to share my beliefs with others and able to contribute to the wider Christian world, but it is not like necessarily influencing my day-to-day life, and that we are supposed to be light and salt, and it is very hard. You have the iron sharpening iron thing going on when you work for a Christian institution, but you don't have the being the light and salt to the world happening, because it's just a bunch of light that's all together. It's not necessarily lighting up anywhere that's already dark. And so I am intentionally choosing to go into the secular workforce so that way I can be a light. Being able to go out and do what I believe I'm being called to do is important to me, and that I need to be able to live out my faith, and that I think this is the most logical step, and it's the step that windows and the doors for me to go through. Another big reason is just like I've wanted to be close to my family, and I love my family. I wanted to get out and prove that I could get out. I'm living out a Hallmark movie, so I'm expecting to just randomly bump into some guy now as I'm moving in. I wanted to get out, and I wanted to see more and like broaden up my horizons, and I wanted to meet new people who didn't necessarily think the same way I do, who came from different backgrounds than what I've come from, people who I didn't grow up with. And now that I've done that, I am ready to be closer to home. And that's not to say like, down the line that things won't change, but now I have to make decisions and plans for myself. I am not making choices and decisions that are based on what might or could happen for myself relationally. I'm making decisions about like where I currently am at. Pursuing like my goals is something that I very intentionally chose to do here in the last year. And some of those things that I've chosen to do were like when I think I talked about, like, I bought a Christmas tree this last year. Like, I didn't have like this little one. It was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get like a nice one if I ever get married. No, I bought a Christmas tree and I have my own decorations. I own my own furniture. I own my own dishware. I've been making decisions that are meant for me. And I am choosing to move forward in that. But my main reasons for choosing to move and to has been I want to fulfill the Great Commission. I want to be able to be closer to family. And frankly, like, on a very logical level, like, I need to be able to make more money. That's just the way it is. The position that I have taken, which is actually the company my mother has retired from, is going to allow me to reach these goals in a way that I have not been able to pursue them at my previous place of employment. I wish where I am leaving the very best, but it is time for me to move on, and I am looking forward to this next chapter in my life. I'm thinking I might see about doing maybe a few videos, because there will be some furniture I'm going to have to purchase, but I'm going to bring you guys for the beginning of the adventure, and maybe I'll do a series. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Like I said, filming a video like this was not on my list of things to do here at the beginning of the year, but now it's happening and I'm excited, and this is a good change. It's going to be a good change. So I look forward to seeing y'all here next time. Bye. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're going to come along on this next adventure with me, you need to like and subscribe and hit the notification button.